and welcome to episode 23 of Rival Banter. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Croft, and joining me after a month's long hiatus, our sensei, Seth Martin.
Domo arigato.
Domo domo.
Mm.
Seth, how was the beach, my friend?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was it was one of those trips. I feel like good things like a solid break or a solid vacation. They start off feeling so slow and like you've got all the time in the world, and then there's just it's like you're going uphill, and then all of a sudden you reach a crest. It's usually around halfway through the vacation, and everything just speeds up exponentially, and it's just over like that. And then the whole thing feels like it was over that way. That's kind of where I'm at with this vacation. It was lovely. Weather was great. Had virtually no problems with that. Um, yeah, that was just relaxing enough, as much as it can be with small children. What about you, my friend?
My week was good, man. My parents came, visited this weekend, and we went and ran around all day on Saturday. Went to this place called the Tobacco Barn, which is like a
Oh,
big antique store, which is pretty cool. And dude, we went into this like discount shoe store that my mom was like, "We gotta go to the discount shoe store. Uh, it's awesome." And when we walked in, there was a lady singing at the top of her lungs. I can't remember what song it was, but a song that she was not in her range. And like I just couldn't stay in there. I get really bad secondhand embarrassment, and yeah, as soon as she started singing, my dad was like talking to people in there. He was like looking at people and like, uh, hopefully she's not doing a concert anywhere around here anytime soon, and all that sort of shit.
did she work there? Or
No, it was just some random
just
lady, and it wasn't even like the store music. Like she brought her own like radio
oh,
and was singing.
oh,
And
wow.
apparently she started up again like 10, 15 minutes later. Um, and yeah, so I did not get to experience the discount shoe store because
Damn, that's
too
cold.
I was too busy trying to disappear into myself.
Right, trying to hide. That's the kind of stuff that you probably thought you were getting away from, moving away from California. But just to find again in North Carolina.
It's funny, man, because like when you live in California, when you live in LA specifically, there is this kind of like weird, uh, this weird sense that like everybody feels like they're just on the brink of becoming some kind of internet famous, right? So like, I lived in Santa Monica. I lived right near the Third Street Promenade. I'd like to go down there on the weekends, and there was always like dozens of TikTokers down there like filming man on the street content or something like that. But I think there's also this sort of subconscious like sense of knowing that there are legitimately talented people in this city as well. And so you run into a lot of unexpected talent. Like when I was living in Santa Monica, there was an opera singer that lived in my apartment building, and she would like practice her opera uh, from her apartment, and she sounded incredible. Like I would open up my windows when she would practice because she sounded so good, right?
It's like that. Do you ever remember that Friends episode where the guy across the alley is like, "Mornings
Yes.
here"? That's where my mind went. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean that's really all there is to the story. I think living in a smaller town like not smaller town, but a smaller city like Asheville instills a bit more confidence in people, right? Because you're just surrounded by people that just hype you up. Whereas in LA, there's a lot more people who just tell you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was surprised when you went like in the direction of talent, because I was going in the direction of like mental illness, and but
Mm-hmm.
like, or I guess maybe a different kind. Who knows? But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as she was having fun.
She was having more fun than anybody else in that store, thanks to her. So, um, Anyway, this is Rival Banter, and we're happy to have Seth back. Larry filled in for us last week, did a commendable job. Nobody in the reply said that they hated him, so I'm sure we'll have Larry back at some point. This is a weekly show where we talk about all things Marvel Rivals, and we put the podcast out on Wednesdays on podcast services everywhere. We also have a social media at Rival Banter on Instagram and TikTok, and we have a YouTube channel where you can watch the video version of this show as well and interact with us on any of those channels wherever you're watching and listening to us. We thank you, we love you, we appreciate you, and we're going to hop into our viewer comments right now. And our first comment comes from Spotify, from a bunch of letters and numbers that I'm not going to read out, but they said, I'm actually quite embarrassed with the Rivals community being in such an uproar over the price tag of the summer battle chest. So entitled. NetEase has given us so much free content with this game, and a lot of it is stuff other similar games would charge an arm and a leg for. Rivals has legitimately spoiled us with the amount of free or damn near free stuff they've given us. No one should be complaining about this. New characters alone being completely free is crazy value. Now, Seth, you didn't get to get in on our conversation last week, so this is in reference to the summer event thing being closer to $10, $3 more expensive than the Magneto battle chest. What's your response to this comment, and also just kind of your overall feelings on the reaction that the community had to that price
I
increase?
saw. I think this is one. I hadn't listened to the show last week, but I watched the reels, or at least most of the ones that we posted. And I think Larry mentioned like how he used the kind of the same verbiage here, like how spoiled Marvel Rivals fans can be. Um, like I feel like there's just this idea out there that people just don't like. Of course, nobody likes being charged money for things, but like it's a free game. They've got to make their money somehow, right? Like if you want more of the game, it can't just everything can't just be free, right? And so, um, I don't know. Like, has anybody lined up this summer event pass with the Magneto Battle Pass from the last event they did like this? This one's bigger, right?
So yes, somebody did actually line it up as far as content, like number of items go, and there
Hmm.
were actually more items in the Magneto bundle as well. But I don't think they factored in things like skin rarity or item rarity and those
Yeah,
sorts of
that maybe
things.
that's kind of where what I'm thinking about just holistically. Like I feel like there's a lot more bang for your buck in this pass, even though it's a little bit more expensive. And I get it. Like again, I have in some lives been a cheap guy.
Mm.
But like if you really enjoy something and you want to continue to have it around in your life, then you've got to support it, right? Um, that's kind of where my mind goes with this. So yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of people kind of are spoiled or just like to gripe or complain. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's $3 extra for a pretty banger pass, actually. Like they, again, like Gooners Unite, this pass has so much stuff to it. You know, whatever kind of stuff you like. And yeah, I feel comfortable paying a little bit more for it because again, you've got like some awesome stuff in there, whether it's Luna's dong or Thor's dong.
Yes, yes. Um,
Thane's
I
dong.
is it one rock or multiple
How
rocks?
many times are we gonna have this conversation?
At least once on the podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we can, but you know,
I think it is a singular rock, and when it gets erect, more rocks come out of him. That's my that's
that's
my
kind of
guess.
where I went because there has to be some level of growth. Like it, it has to. It can't be the same size
Mhm.
and just become erect. You have to grow, and so yeah, the only way I can make it make sense, like I don't see rocks just expanding. Like I feel like they've got to
Yeah,
come from within, if that makes
unless
sense.
unless
Mm.
and look, this is a little outside the box, right? What if it's
Oh,
like
we blew the box away, baby. We're out of there. But
what if it's like a small uh what if it's like a small area of volcanic activity, and it oozes metamorphic rock that hardens as it goes out. What if that's the way that it works?
All right.
Look, let us know in the comments below how you think it works. All right, but the fact of the matter is that Benjamin J. Grimm has to have something down there, and
I
the
mean,
people
he
need to know.
marries a beautiful woman, and canonically, so something's
Mm-hmm.
probably up.
Yeah. Does he have children?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Why don't you look that up for us while I say this next thing that's totally unrelated to that, but back to the original point that we were talking about. So I was kind of not necessarily shocked, but it's always a bit surprising to me the number of people that you see just come right out and say like, I don't spend any money on this game that I play, and I never will. Like, and that to me is a little bit wild, right? Like, uh, and it's only really seems to happen in gaming, right? I can't think of really another kind of interest where people get into it and they just say, I refuse to spend any money on this thing that I am investing my time so deeply into. People don't do that with books. People don't do that. I mean, you'll pay for like a streaming service to watch TV shows or movies or something like that on, but like people with games just expect to be able to play for free and always play for free. And in Rivals, you can do that. But just to be like, I refuse to ever monetarily support this thing that I'm investing my time in is crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where my mind goes too. Like there are egregious examples of this, right? Nothing like I feel like we've kind of gotten away from this by and large, at least in console gaming. I mean, there are mobile and gotcha games, of course, but that maybe do some more questionable things. But like if the only thing that you can spend money on are just cosmetics, big deal, right? And all that aside, how much free stuff do you get in like in the summer pass and in any battle pass, right? Like there's a lot that you just are given. If you don't want to pay money, that's got to be enough, like they can't, again, they've got to make money somehow. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely with them on this. Maybe not some of the stuff we'll talk about later, but he does have adopted children.
Oh, okay. So, the evidence is inconclusive about what's
Mhm.
going on downstairs. So, let us know in the comments what you think. Next comment comes from Lord Farrellheart, who I believe we've read comments from before. I recognize this photo here. He says, I wish I could buy emotes and MVPs separately. And I've never really thought about this, Seth, but it's true. You really only get these if you purchase the bundles with the skins. And especially now that a lot of these MVPs and emotes aren't specifically tied to a certain skin. I think that's the natural evolution of that process now.
I mean, I would think this would come around at some point. Yeah. Like, I mean, you can kind of still in a roundabout way do it. Like, as an example, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, I know at one point they did this with Squirrel Girl, with, I forget which skin it was, but, one of her skins. They're doing it now with Jeff's like fake dolphin skin, where he's got the pink like dolphin suit on, and you get most of the bundle, and plus like some uh, currency as well to spend on your battle pass. But the only thing pretty much they don't give you is his I want to say, I think you get the MVP animation, but I think it's an emote, or maybe I'm getting that reversed. Whatever, you don't get like one of the things, and you can still go and get that thing, but it's going to cost like a portion of the overall bundle price. I think it's like $5 or something like that in units, which kind of sucks. I feel like that's a little steep for, just to be able to get the one missing piece that you're missing, that emote or whatever it is. But I mean, I would definitely wouldn't be opposed to like dropping $2-3 to get something like that here and there.
I didn't even think about that. Yes, because you can buy the skin separate. So I guess it would make sense that it would offset the cost of that bundle so that you just
Yeah,
get.
like when I got, and they do that when you get the like the costume tokens on, like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
those occasional passes, you just get the costume or the, like the skin. But if you want the rest of the bundle, you have to pay. It's like, I don't know, half or maybe a little bit less of the price. I think for like the Hulk one, it was like somewhere between $5 and $10, something like that, to get
Yeah.
the rest of his anime, like his emote and his MVP animation, all that jazz.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I'm going to skip down to this last comment. We'll come back to the other two, but this one's related to what we've been talking about. Reese Aluri, I believe this was on TikTok, said, but honestly, for me at least, I enjoy ways to earn your characters. For me, having everything handed to me, it's not really fun for me because, as we know, the Battle Pass isn't really content. It's just skins and how they make money. So when I'm playing to earn characters, it seems more fun to me. Um, I just quickly going to comment on the battle pass isn't really content; it's just skins. Like, I don't know what that means. uh,
I mean,
I guess
I mean,
they
it's all
mean like,
content, I guess, but
yeah,
like it's just cosmetics.
yeah,
Maybe it. I mean, it's not just skins, right? But like it's all the or most of the kinds of cosmetics that are in the game, like except for like the keychain stuff that they've just implemented this season. Um, I don't know. Like, Overwatch did this when they first, like when they kind of rebranded as Overwatch 2 and introduced their battle pass, right? Wasn't that like you had to buy the battle pass, and or even if you didn't buy it, you had to like max
yeah.
out the pass to earn that season's character. And I mean, that's got some value to it. I do like the idea of being able to earn stuff, but like, how does that work? Like, again, like, it. Do you just miss the character if you miss that season, or if you kind of fall off the game for a little bit and come back later? How, like, what are the qualifications that you have to do to earn a new character? But maybe this is all personal preference, but I'm kind of just more of the mind that like you get the character, but and I love having something like a like have that carrot that was dangling in front of me on the stick. Like that's like the whole reason I'm playing Death Stranding right now. I'm just like mainlining that game because I'm constantly just getting tempted to do these things and work toward these kind of small goals. So yeah, I mean, like I think it would be cool if you maybe had like there's a cool achievement system in the game, right? That's outside within the game. It's kind of outside, although kind of loosely connected to like your console specific achievements or trophies. I think linking some other stuff to those can be cool. They already kind of do that in some ways. Like you can get units with some milestones for some of those challenges. You can get um, some other cosmetics like player cards or whatever, titles through those as well. Um, could it be cool to get like some character specific stuff along with some of those achievements or whatever, especially like the character specific achievements? I don't know. It could be cool, but I think boxing those characters off from other people, it becomes problematic in some ways. What do you think, Luke?
I mean, I get the sentiment, right? I mean, it's the way that we grew up playing games, and you know, you used to have to beat the game to unlock hidden characters or whatever. I remember like old school Mortal Kombat games and stuff like that. You wouldn't have all the characters when you would first start playing them, but I think especially in a competitive environment, it doesn't make a lot of sense gatekeeping or gating off specific characters, especially when the whole concept of when you're creating new characters is we see this in a lot of games when new characters come out. There's this power creep, and that power creep becomes even worse when you're charging for new characters because you want to make that new character really powerful so that people feel the need to have to purchase them. I just think having ways to unlock a character, you're also going to introduce ways to like pay to speed up unlocking that character, and by doing that, you're going to throw off the competitive balance of the game. So I I like what you're saying with the whole like give us more stuff for each character to kind of work towards that's character specific. I do think here in the next few seasons we're going to see some additions to the Lord system where people are maxing out their characters that they're playing a lot and not necessarily earning towards more stuff with those characters. Like give us more prestiges or something like. I mean, I've like lorded Invisible Woman like twice over now at this point, you know. So it'd be cool for them to add more on those systems where there's like exclusive stuff I can earn for individual characters, but I'm definitely not for locking characters altogether that I have to then earn in some way, shape, or form, in game or with currency or money or however. Let's see. The next comment was a response to us talking about the new team up between Thing and Human Torch. From Ink Bendy 061 says, I love this team up and it's so fun. I'm almost Lord Thing and I love doing it because it's a fast way to get to point and it's a funny thing to do. Haha. Besides that, I hope they make more funny team ups with characters. Seth, have you seen the new team up in action in game?
So I have not seen it in game yet, and from talking with you and Larry, I feel like I haven't seen it because it's just not that great. But again, my playtime has been limited because I'm just coming off that vacation, right? I had my Portal with me. I could play some games, like I would play Death Stranding there, but that hotel Wi-Fi, I didn't trust it playing a multiplayer game, although it is surprisingly good for hotel Wi-Fi. So I haven't seen it like like what it is, and I've talked with you guys. So I feel like if you go into this with like a competent team strategy and like you give the thing an exit to like jump to leap back to a player on your team, it could be a cool strategy. But if you're just kind of like with some jackass who just like some fan not say Fantastic Four, some Human Torch who just drops you behind enemy lines with no exit strategy, then what's the plan, right? It's one thing to like throw Wolverine as Thing or Hulk back there because he can leap back, with no problem. You don't have to have that connection. But Thing, he's got to have somebody within range. So I don't know. It is cool. I definitely do like the idea of it. I just haven't really seen it executed well so far.
Yeah, and with the Wolverine team up, it's a little different, right? Because once you throw the Wolverine still has a lot of control over like where he ends up. He can steer
Hmm.
himself in the air. He doesn't just follow the arc that you throw him on. Whereas you kind of are just completely at the mercy of how intelligent and aware your Human Torch is. And so because of that, I've only done it like 3 or 4 times, right? So I because every single time it's happened, I've been dropped behind enemy lines with no way to get out and no access to my healers, and I just get blown up immediately. So I think it's one of those things. It's cool as a way to kind of promote the new movie. It's a cool way to tie the Marvel Rivals into the greater Marvel universe. We got the Pedro Pascal and rest of the cast video of them playing Marvel Rivals last week as well. So it's cool to see them trying to tie into the greater Marvel universe. But from the game perspective, the team up's not great. I don't see myself really using it much. Plus, I don't know. I don't like anything where I feel annoyed by someone else, and when your Human Torch is just following you around, constantly requesting to pick you up, annoys the
Yeah.
shit out of me.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, I think we talked about it the week before last when they just announced this. But so this team up is like available in competitive lobbies too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Huh.
So, and I don't think it's like game changing. It's not, uh, you know, I would love to
It's
see the
not going to
usage rate of it.
upend the competitive season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Maybe that's intentional too in some ways. Like maybe it's not a game breaker just for that reason.
I think it would be a little different if like I had control of my inputs after being dropped or whatever. So like my Human Torch can fly me in and like fly me up to, like an enemy Ultron or whatever, and I can just hit him from being flown over there. But the fact that like I have to go through this animation of being dropped, I hit the ground, I knock people up, I think there's enough kind of risk reward to it that it's not a completely broken team up. It's cool to do a couple times just to see. If I was playing with a friend who played Human Torch and kind of knew what he was doing, I'd maybe trust it a little bit more. But yeah, just having some random asshole pick you up and drop you, not knowing where he's taking you. Definitely not advised. But I don't know. How do you feel about kind of the, we talked back when, what's the what was the movie that came out that has like David Harbour in it?
Oh, Thunderbolts.
Yeah, we talked about how it didn't seem like it was super in your face how Marvel Rivals did the tie-ins, and how they promoted it. I mean, there were some skins, but outside of that, it wasn't a whole lot. This felt a lot different, right? There we had the Fantastic Four, like the skin bundle, but we also had this team up. We had the Pedro Pascal and the cast video and all that sort of thing. Like, how did you feel sort of about just the the tie-in relationship with the movie release with Marvel Rivals?
Sorry, what was the question? I just lost you.
Oh my bad. I was just asking how did you feel about like just the way that kind of NetEase handled the tie-in with the new Fantastic Four movie?
I mean, I love it. I love seeing those connections again, like you mentioned. I think I was going to mention before too, the whole video with like the primary cast playing the game and seeing their characters realized in the game. And I love that kind of stuff. Like it's just kind of cheesy fun. Like again, you could tell that none of these people seem like they were avid gamers or anything like that, but they're at least like I don't know. It's making that kind of broader connection to the MCU, like you mentioned, and I love that. Like that's kind of what is so cool about Marvel stuff. You're connected to all these different universes and different media outlets. Like, yeah, you're getting connected to comics because you're playing this game based on comics characters. You're getting connected to these movies that are out there and constantly coming out. We've got the Marvel fighting. Like they've got Marvel games is on fire. They've got so much stuff kind of happening either now or in the near future. Like you've got that beat 'em up coming soon. You've got the fighting game that's coming out that looks just absolutely bonkers. Um, so yeah, like I just all these things kind of connecting to each other. Like I feel like there's going to be a time soon where I'm just playing Marvel games, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it may be happening.
That's exactly what Marvel wants, man. They just want to they want to monopolize your time.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, yeah. And then the final comment of the day comes from Heathen666, responding to our video about Phoenix's ult and just her overall power level, and said, sometimes people confuse using an ult with actually utilizing it. Sometimes I'll use an ult to just make space or get people off a point. Um, Seth, I think this is a really good point, actually, because I think people fail to kind of understand the utility and what their ultimate does, and I think I can be accused of doing this from time to time as well, right? Where I think something is underpowered because I don't particularly understand it, or whatever. But I also think that yeah, Marvel has this kind of issue where there are certain characters that just have really, really, really powerful ults, and because of that, it makes it kind of feel bad when you're playing with teammates that are playing characters that don't have those powerful ults, especially in like the strategist category of things, right? When you're playing with uh, I, I, like if you're playing with a team that just has like a Jeff and Ultron, and you don't have one of those like keep everybody alive instantly ults from Invis or Luna or whatever.
Hmm.
So what do you make of Heathen's comment here?
Ah, I mean, yeah, 100%. Like there are different ways to use your ults, right? It's not like there's just one outlet. And again, this game, one of the great things that we love about it is that there's so much kind of creative freedom to how you play. There are no role cues. You're not locked into like playing certain ways. And yeah, like um there are great and very specific times that it can be great to use ults, but you can also like 100% use ults specifically for like for example, I think back to Overwatch with like Hanzo's ult with the dragon arrow that he shoots, right? That ult isn't like a it can be a big kill gain, right? But it could also be used for like zoning, like to try to keep
Mhm.
the enemy team from coming into a certain place for a few seconds to kind of buy yourself some time. Um, I don't know, like I definitely agree with what Heathen's saying here.
Yeah, and it's kind of understanding how your ult changes with the team composition that you're playing around, right? Like what you're able to combo your ult with on your team, and now if I don't have certain combos with my teammates, what my ult is able to be used for. Now, have you found any kind of creative uses for ults that for characters that you play? One that I can kind of think of for myself is like when I play Luna, if I'm up against a Punisher, I like to use her ult when the Punisher ults, not just to like dance around for my team, but I'll just get in the Punisher's face and just tank all of the damage that he's putting out,
Hmm.
so that it doesn't even reach my team. So,
Okay, yeah, I like that. I'm trying to think. I know, I don't know, things that come to mind. Like I know we've mentioned before, like when I'm playing, like Ultron, for example, on the strategist end of things. Like I'm constantly like, you can use that ult like three different ways, right? Maybe more, probably not less. You can use it to attack, and like it can be really specific. Like a great time to pop that would be like if an enemy Jeff swallows your whole team on domination and is carrying them away from the point. You can use that and just knock out that Jeff like that. So you can use it offensively. You can use it defensively, like primarily just to heal your team. And it puts out like a ton of both kinds of output. But you can also like line if you're kind of like galaxy braining it. You can do it like you can do both jobs at once, right? Like just try to assemble everybody in a perfect line or a funnel, and you can heal and damage to your heart's content. Other than that, no. I'm trying to think of, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty much any ult. I feel like you can use a number of different ways like that.
yeah, I like to use Things ult to keep people from touching the point to trigger overtime and domination or something like that, or like jumping through a strange portal that has just been dropped to like keep people from jumping through to trigger overtime. I mean, that's not like super creative, but again, it's not me looking for a 5K with a thing ult, right? I'm using it to accomplish a goal, right? So, um, so yeah, good point, Heathen. And yeah, let us know if you guys have any creative uses for ults in the chat as well. So, all right, let's move on. Seth, I know you were at the beach this week, but we did get a chance to play a little bit of Rivals together. Just tell me about your week in Rivals. What'd you get up to in game?
We played a little bit of competitive. I played with Larry one night, just Larry, which is a rare treat. But I do, of course, like enjoy having the three stack even more. Um, I competitive. We had like I feel like we started off so strong, and it helped chat that we were starting off from like the bottom of the bottom this season in bronze 3, but whatever. We rolled up through like mid silver, like with no problem at all. And this will kind of like get us into one of our points later. But I feel like we had such a hot streak, and then all of a sudden last night we just hit a brick wall where we were teamed up with just absolute morons. So like it's like we had a Lord Moon Knight who seemed to be a bot. Like they just weren't making decisions that made any kind of logical sense, and um, that just kind of like expanded to both of these games that we played with, and then um, we kind of just got driven back to quick play after that. So again, we'll save some of that for the conversation later on, but it just felt nice in general to get back into competitive a little bit and just kind of get that grindy, tensiony feel back in the gameplay a little bit.
Yeah, no, that was good, and you're right. We did breeze all the way through bronze. I started at the very bottom because I just didn't play a whole lot of competitive last season, and yeah, up into mid silver now, and just trying to get to gold before the change of the season. Um, but yeah, no, played some competitive. I also have just been playing a lot of just quick play randomly in the middle of the day when I get a bit of time uh to play a game or two. And something I've kind of not really enjoyed this season has just been the lack of daily challenges for me to try to accomplish. And I get that they're trying to balance this whole rhythm with the battle pass and all that sort of thing. But like, I feel like at the weekly reset, I'm finishing up my weekly challenges within like a day or two of playing. And it's not like we're sitting on and playing for 5 hours a day or anything. Like we get on, we play what, maybe 6, 7 matches together,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll play maybe 2 or 3 by myself. But then I'm left kind of waiting 24 hours for my two daily challenges to unlock, and then I'm waiting a week for the next weekly reset. And so I kind of hope they strike a better balance with that carrot dangling in front of you, right? Because there's a lot of times I'm playing where I don't feel like I'm really progressing towards anything. Not that I totally need that in this game, because I like just picking up the controller and playing, but it is nice to see I'm achieving something while
Yeah,
I'm playing.
right.
All right, well, let's jump into the news, and we're going to start with the place we always start, which is the brand new skins for the game. We got 2 Phoenix Force skins coming for Phoenix. I'm sorry, not Phoenix, for Magik and for Black Panther. Seth, we don't main either of these characters. What do you think about these skins?
Well, like I dig that they are kind of like they're with kind of the theme connected to this battle pass for the season right there. They've got that Phoenix Force vibe to them. Um, they look cool. This isn't they're not necessarily cool enough to make me want to play them anymore. But because occasionally I'll get that with skins, right? Like I'll see an awesome Hulk skin come out, and I'm gonna play Hulk just to kind of see that skin in action. But I don't know. This they're great, I guess. Fire's cool. Gold's cool.
Yeah,
That's about all.
yeah, they look cool. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm a big fan of the kind of like on theme season skins being sold as separate individual skins. I felt this way about the retro and X-Men Namor skin that they sold as like a premium skin last season as well. Because it just kind of feels like, oh well, we designed all of these characters and we didn't really want to put these in the battle pass. Why don't we throw these out there and like charge people money for them instead? It just feels a little kind of thrown in. But for a game that puts out as much content as they do, I kind of get it, right? You need to design in batches. Not everything needs to be like, let's stand at the let's stand at the whiteboard and brainstorm some wholly unique idea. But these sorts of skins don't really speak to me, and I wish that they would maybe couple one of these with something a little more unique and like space them out rather than all one week. All
Yeah, and I feel like they
Phoenix.
usually do. But I do kind of get the feel that this is kind of overkill. Um, I don't know. I feel like we got like the Namor X like retro X-Men skin last season, right? And I don't think that the other skin that was paired with him was in that same.
No, it was it because I think it was the Punisher skin.
I think so, and it was like kind of that. What am I
It was from the
trying to think
show,
of?
I think, right? From the Daredevil show.
Maybe I was thinking it was like the kind of like I don't know. He had the kind of conical
Oh,
hat.
the
I'm trying to
Ronin
think of what.
skin.
Yeah. From like the yeah.
Okay, yeah, you might be right there. Let's see, Namor X-Men skin. Because yeah, I think I remember. I do know that it was a Punisher skin, and I can't find that image right off. But but yeah, I get what they're doing. You know, shorter seasons, they're having to compress all this content. But yeah, I like. I didn't totally like what they did with Namor, but I liked what they did with Namor better than what they're doing with these two. Uh, and then we'll come back to the second story because the other one's skin related as well. But it seems like we might also be getting a Thing symbiote skin. This was posted up on Marvel Rivals leaks, um, and it says this is from XOX leak. It says the Thing symbiote skin coming? Question mark. Just revealed, the Marvel Rivals Infinity comic continues with the King in Black story arc tied to the game's latest season. When a galactic vacation goes awry, Jeff the Land Shark, Rocket Raccoon, The Thing, and Squirrel Girl find themselves on the symbiotic shores of Clintar. Their darker halves join the side of the symbiote bonded Hela and her growing symbiotic army. So if you notice these names, Jeff the Land Shark, Rocket Raccoon, and Squirrel Girl all have a season pass skin that is a symbiote. We have not gotten a Thing skin that is a symbiote skin, but if you look at the cover of this comic, you see Thing here on the bottom left hand corner. Have you read this issue yet, Seth?
I haven't made it this far. No, I think I'm like 5 issues in, maybe into the series. And this is, I think it says 13 down there in the corner. So yeah, I'm a little ways off, but this looks awesome. I feel like this would probably happen again if there's a link to all these skins in the lore of the comics. Then yeah, why wouldn't they? I do think they have to kind of put this on maybe the back end of the season, because like things been hot for skins in
Yeah,
the
we
past
got
few years,
Thong,
right?
we got the movie skin. Yeah, 3 skins in one season seems aggressive.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot, and that's fine. But like I had just bought the Future Foundation skin, and have barely played things since getting it, just because I've been busy with other stuff. But then they dropped the Thong skin, and so like
Oh
I
yeah,
never even really got to enjoy the Future Foundation skin that much before they dropped this. So if this comes out, like, God help us. But I also feel like maybe I have to see a full body image of him. I feel like this almost looks, he kind of has like the same build as Venom, so I feel like that might get a little confusing, maybe from a distance on the battlefield. Sometimes he even has like the Venom tongue right here. So I don't know. I might have to see like the texture of the skin to make sure. It looks a little rocky here, but like how well do you see that mid game and like in the fray? You know what I mean?
yeah, that's a good point. I am interested to see what that looks like. I had totally forgotten about the Future Foundation skin too. I mean, Thing has gotten
Exactly.
4 skin. This would be his 4th skin and
Foreskin.
his 4 skin in as many months, really. And yeah, that's a lot, especially because I wish we had a breakdown, and I'm sure this exists. I just don't have it on, but of how many skins each character has, because like Black Widow, Penny, like
Yeah, some are like woefully small. Like they don't have
yeah,
much going on at all. Like Penny's had a couple bangers for sure, but like when you look at Penny compared to, like, I don't know,
Spider-Man.
Luna or Spider-Man, for sure, yeah. Even Punisher, like I feel like Punisher has a weirdly high number of skins, even though some of them are nearly identical. I don't know.
And I get that there's like a certain amount of analytics that have to go into this, right? You can't invest a ton of resources into creating skins for characters that only a small percentage of your player base actually plays. But
True.
you also got to avoid this perception that you're just like pumping and dumping skins into a handful of characters to the point where it just seems completely unbalanced in a specific direction. And right now it's like Jeff, Spider-Man, Thing all get like skins all the time, if it feels like. So if I'm not maining one of those characters and I'm maining a Penny, I'm maining a Black Widow, I feel just like completely left out.
Hmm.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next story on the list. And that is that Blade was confirmed to be a duelist at San Diego Comic Con. So,
Wow.
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 And the fork is found in the kitchen. Um, but
It's the death of hope. That's what you
yeah.
smell.
So they revealed some more information about Blade at San Diego Comic Con. They showed some footage of him in game. I think they showed some more art of him in game, but of note, they showed this screen of him that we're showing up on screen. Uh, He is a duelist character, 3-star difficulty, half human and half vampire. Eric Brooks walks between worlds, craving the very life force of his enemies. As night falls, Blade's hunt begins as he wields the swords of Dracula to become the nightmare of any foe who dares to bare their fangs. Now, Seth, I know you are holding out hope despite all of the evidence that this would not be true. Now that it is confirmed, how do you feel?
I mean, it's whatever. Like, I sure I had hope. I figured this is probably what the result is going to be. He looks decidedly DPS size. I mean, he's still pretty buff and meaty right here. Don't get me wrong, but like, he doesn't have that big beefy tank build, that beefcake build, if you will. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm excited to see what he can do for sure. And maybe, you know, who knows? Maybe he could be one of those kind of like segue characters, kind of like on the cusp between the tank. Like he could be a new Mr. Fantastic, for all we know. So he could kind of have some of those tank-like abilities, maybe. Whatever.
It's a weird move, and it has me thinking that like I feel like they wanted Blade in this season, and then it feels like the Phoenix thing was like it makes sense for the lore, so we want to fit Phoenix in to the lore, but we can't make either of these characters fit in a category that isn't duelist, and so we just kind of ended up with this weird season with 2 duelists, and it just seems like poor planning at like a fundamental level, because in a game that's already so heavily weighted towards duelist characters, to add 2 in one season just seems like an own goal. Now, to be fair, I feel like the Phoenix hype died down very, very quickly. I don't feel like the Blade hype is going to die down all that quickly, especially if he has some of the anti-heal stuff that has been hinted at here. I think the other thing that has been fascinating to watch over the last couple of weeks has just been, and I'm not just saying this because you were coping as well, but just the outstanding amounts of mental gymnastics that were made by people on Reddit to cope with the idea that maybe Blade was somehow a 300 HP tank that was made a tank through just overwhelming sustain that he has, or something within his kit that made him, you know, resistant to damage, or these things. Like, I read so much cope online that Blade is going to break the mold of what a Vanguard is or something like that. But alas, here we are. He's a duelist, and it is what it is. We better not see another duelist for the next like 3 seasons in Marvel.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. But you know, I guess that's what the people want, you know, and we gotta give it to them.
Just get ready for the 5 duelist meta. It's just 5 duelists and a cloak and dagger, baby. Let's go.
Against the world.
All right, Seth. Well, let's move on to our main topic of the day, and that is matchmaking. I know that we're close to the next season of Rivals, or the next half season of Rivals. And look, we'll get into a cadence where we're doing some predictions and talking about, you know, tier lists and stuff like that. But I don't want to just always do the thing that's expected. I do want to sometimes engage in some spirited discussion about some stuff that's going on in the community. And I feel like this is something that we haven't really touched on a whole lot on our show, but it's something that's been heavily talked about around the community. And that is Marvel Rivals matchmaking systems and its supposed usage of engagement optimized matchmaking, or EOMM. And I came across a video that somebody had posted, Rivals Enthusiast, over on TikTok. It was a clip from a Necros stream, and he said, basically in it, he was talking about the main reason that people don't want to play Marvel Rivals is because of the engagement optimization matchmaking. He says if you go read the negative Steam reviews, overwhelmingly people are mentioning engagement optimization matchmaking. And he says something I find really interesting, which is that people aren't going to want to play a game if they feel like that game doesn't respect their time. And if you go read the comments of this video, it's a bunch of people kind of giving their anecdotal stories about how they've encountered and been impacted by engagement optimized matchmaking. So, to catch everybody up on what that means, I'm going to give you a little rundown on what engagement optimized matchmaking is, why it's so controversial, and what the sort of like alternative of it could be. And then I'll pull Seth in and we can, have an actual conversation. So,
I was glad you spelled that out in the show notes because I was like, "What do those words mean?" And once I read them, I've got some thoughts. So take us away.
all right, cool. So, basically, online multiplayer games can use one of two matchmaking philosophies, right? You can have what's traditionally called a skill-based matchmaking system, and that is where you take the kind of skill rating MMR of the players that are queuing, and you try to matchmake them with people of similar skill levels. And this has been used basically as long as online gaming has been a thing. NetEase has used in the past, and EA has used in the past, and I think Activision and some other companies have done some work with something called engagement optimized matchmaking, where rather than matchmaking based on the skill of everybody who is pulled together in the queue, they are optimizing their matchmaking to balance the emotional highs and lows of the players that are queuing. And so what they're aiming for is giving people big win streaks that make them want to keep playing, and then giving them big loss streaks that make them want to chase the next win. And so in practice, what it looks like is that after a win streak, you start giving people tougher opponents and lower skill teammates so that then they lose. And then after a loss streak, you give them easier games, and sometimes you even throw in some bots and make that game even easier, and get them back in the win column. And then the result is there's this like mixed matchmaking difficulty, and it maintains this kind of like never too good, never too bad feeling. And people have kind of done some digging into what NetEase is doing in Marvel Rivals, and they've come to the conclusion that NetEase is using engagement optimized matchmaking for their game. Now, NetEase has come out and they've said, no, we use skill-based matchmaking in our online rank system, but other people have shared their stories and said that they haven't. Seth, what's your kind of perception, your read on the situation? Do you think that NetEase is using engagement optimized matchmaking?
I mean, for the longest time, and I don't get too like in the weeds with this kind of thing. I just tend to take things at face value that it is what it is, and that can be problematic sometimes, sure, but whatever. For the longest time, though, I've kind of wondered like why, and we've talked about it before, right? Like I know in my heart of hearts that I am a grandmaster, at least, right? Like I feel like I should be there. I know people that are there. We're like the same level, but I just at this point haven't quite made it right. And a big part of that is it's like an age old complaint, right? Just bad teams, yada yada yada. And this kind of just I feel like confirms a lot of that stuff, right? And like it speaks to pretty much every experience I had grinding through season one, where like you get that awesome win streak. We just had one, in the few days that we played this week, right? Like we didn't lose one game from bronze to mid silver, right? And that's not the biggest brag. That's not like a huge accomplishment, sure. But we had a great win streak. So a lot of dopamine flowing. Like we got the vibes, we got the good time. And then all of a sudden we hit like just the hardest brick wall in silver 2 last night, right? Or silver 3, silver 2, where like we were just playing with like it seemed like bots, like people that just were making totally nonsensical decisions, like a Lord Moon Knight just trying to solo run train on the whole enemy team, going off and trying to flank with no one else around him. How does that make sense? How do you get to where you are? I like that you called them time lords yesterday, because they got lured through just spending a lot of time on there. I don't
Mhm.
know. Lord farming or whatever. So this kind of spoke to me like I feel like we saw this in action just last night, and then I saw it in action a lot through that whole first season where I was really grinding, trying to climb as much as I could. Um, so yeah, like after the win streak, tougher opponents, lower skill teammates, that's kind of where we are right now. Hopefully that loss streak ends sooner than later. And it's competitive. So again, like maybe we're not running into bots, hopefully, but I don't know. Like I don't like the idea, and this is kind of one of the ways that I think Rivals could definitely do things better if this is actually like, is it totally confirmed this is what they're doing?
No, again, so
Okay.
NetEase,
Yeah.
yeah, so NetEase claims that they do use skill based matchmaking, and but NetEase in the past and other games have used confirmed engagement online,
I
engagement
feel like
optimized.
there's like a semantics way that you could like spin this to be like, well, it is kind of skill based matchmaking because like you've got to like you get paired with people of the same skill, and then you've got to I don't know like how do you explain it? I don't know. I feel like you could just kind of implement the word skill into this paradigm and just kind of make it work. But yeah, I'm not crazy about it, and it does feel very much like this is what it is that they're doing. And yeah, I'm just if that is the case, not a big fan.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little more nuanced than just is it one or is it the other. I think definitely in quick play they are using some sort of engagement optimized matchmaking. I think it's very clear you get into matches where the team that you're up against is, majority bots. The names are very generic names. The players are trickling in a very just like unrefined way, and it's not even a very convincing bot. So I think that we see this a lot in quick play. I do think I buy NetEase saying they use skill based matchmaking in ranked a little more than I do. Probably the majority of Marvel Rivals players, but I think that a couple of things are at play here. Number one, I think that there's just such a wide array of skill variant within each rank based off of the way that NetEase rewards players for winning and based on the way that they don't punish players for losing. So you get a lot of players at every tier that are higher than they deserve to be. And then you have people who don't play ranked as much, who are just still down in levels that they should be progressing out of more quickly because there's no kind of placement matches or anything like that, right? It's not like Overwatch where you play 10 matches and then it puts you in the rank it feels like you need to be in. And so I think you just get where it's like, hey, I'm in gold, but gold can be when you have like a 9 level reset like we did 2 seasons ago. Gold can be anywhere between people who are bronze who have just been playing a bunch of ranked and just from chrono tokens and simple math made their way to gold to diamond players who simply just kind of fell all the way back to gold in their stuff. So but I think the other thing is just like human psychology, right? Like we are kind of designed to want to recognize patterns. And so I think we see our win streaks and our loss streaks a lot more clearly. Whereas I don't think we notice as much when we're kind of like, oh, 2 wins, a loss, 2 losses, a win. And where I think that happens just as much in rivals, right? I don't think everything is just like win 7, lose 7. Um, and so psychologically, we kind of just lean on those streaks a little bit more. And then also psychologically, we want to blame everything other than our own performance for the results that we get. And whereas I think it's just it's just the fact of the matter is that like I just don't think that the rank system in and of itself is all that good at figuring out where players belong within the ranked ecosystem. And so you just have these wild variants in the skill of your teammates and the quality of the games that you're playing. But I think that also goes back to Necros' point. Like, I still don't think that's very respectful of your time, right? Like, if I'm constantly queuing and I can always tell within the first 2 minutes if my team is going to win this game or not, that's not respectful of my time either. Like, we played that game last night that you're talking about, one of the hardest games of Marvel Rivals I've ever had to play to try to get anything done. And it was just, we knew 30 seconds into that game, we're not winning this shit, you know? And that's not respectful of our time either.
Yeah, it almost makes me want, like, can we surrender quick matches or whatever to, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And I feel like NetEase has a few problems on their hands, right? Like, number one, how do you shake the perception either way? Like, if you're using engagement optimized matchmaking, like, how do you course correct and implement a skill-based matchmaking and kind of communicate that in a way that doesn't throw yourself under the bus but tells the community that you're listening? Or if you are not using that and you are using skill-based matchmaking in ranked, how do you convince your people that you are? Like, at this point, you're just kind of fighting against what people think you're doing rather than what you're actually doing in game.
Mm-hmm. And it makes me wonder too, like, I mean, and like, if that's the case and you really want to back it up, is there some way to be like super transparent about it? Like, show the receipts, if you will. I don't know. That may just be one of those things where it's hard for the layman to understand. Like, if I'm looking at like a sheet of code that proves, like, I have no idea what I'm going to be looking at, but I don't know. Like, is there some way to kind of just concretely just crush the issue and say, oh, well, whatever? Or is there some way to prove that you're going to change it? If, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I think,
definitely a trust issue at the end of the day.
and I think honestly, at the end of the day, what NetEase needs to do is come out and say, hey, we're going to introduce things like placement matches and stuff like that. We're going to reset people's MMR. We're going to try to get people into the ranks that they really need to be in. And kind of reset the way that the rank system works altogether. And that's the way to kind of move people on from this idea about the current rank system. You have to kind of reinvent the system altogether. Even if you're keeping like, let's say they are using skill-based matchmaking and it's like, well, we want to keep that, but it's just, we didn't set up a great foundation of how to get people there. Like, just make a big deal out of the placement matches or something like that. Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. But I also think that this is just like, people are always trying to figure out a way to like game a system. And, people talk about like gaming the YouTube algorithm or gaming the like TikTok algorithm or something like that to blow up. I work in digital marketing, right? And for years I worked in an agency. We did like SEO. And when I was first getting into digital marketing, like, search engine optimization was all about, it wasn't about doing like quality work. It was about like who knew how to do all the dumbest tricks to get your stuff to show up on Google. So it was like people putting all of their keywords in like the bottom of their page on in the same color as their background, so that like Google saw them, but nobody else. They'd like keyword stuff their pages or whatever. And it was just like, and people would just like carry on doing all of these like bad practices years after Google even would say like, hey, that shit doesn't work anymore. But like, people are just so want to convince themselves that things work a particular way so that they can then point to the way that things work when things don't work out the way that they want them to. And I think that's kind of what is happening with the matchmaking stuff, right? Is people want to blame engagement optimized matchmaking for why they're stuck in a rank that they're stuck in or whatever. But when in reality, like, no, people are climbing out of the ranks that they feel stuck in. There are people that are making GM, that are making eternity, that are making one above all, that sort of stuff, right? Like, so it's like, how do you parse through what are actually issues and what are perceived issues? Because I don't think the matchmaking is perfect at all. In fact, I think it's pretty bad. But I don't know if we pinpointed exactly what makes it bad.
Yeah, I think, and the good news is like the game. It's clearly fun enough. Like just that core, like the basic, like the fundamentals of the game are just like spot on, awesome. They're addictive. But yeah, like this is probably the biggest issue I feel that they have is just that, and that's what kind of drives people away. It kind of like fuels some of the toxicity that takes place, among players of the game. So yeah, I feel like if they can fine tune that system just a little bit more, then that's gonna change the game, if you will.
Mhm. I do feel like NetEase is kind of going in the wrong direction with some of this sort of stuff, though, because I think it's been shown that they are trying to do things to like in quick play to like make bots more convincing, right? Like they'll have bots like run up to you and emote or like run up to you and use a spray or something like that. And like I'm very human kind of behavior, and they're like investing more in making their bots more believable rather than and I get it, right? You want your queue times to stay fast. You want people to have success when they first start the game and stuff like there are reasons to have bots in your game, but for guys like us who have spent hundreds of hours playing the game, there's absolutely no reason that we should be facing up against bots at any point in the game. Like I'd be happy to wait like 20 seconds to find a match rather than like have an insta pop queue that has 4 bots on the enemy team.
For sure, yeah.
All right, man. Well, let us know your thoughts on the matchmaking system in Marvel Rivals in the comments of the video below, and we'll respond to some of those next week when we come back on the show. But Seth, I think that's going to do it for us today. So, what do you want to get up to in Rivals this week?
I would definitely like to grind out a little more ranked with you. Hoping that we get Larry back here pretty soon so that we can play a little bit more of that 3 stack. I definitely like felt the void of not having this game easily accessible to me for the week. I did miss the game a little bit. I wasn't thinking about it all the time, but when I did have a second to kind of relax, kick back, I'm like, I kind of wish I could play a couple rounds of Rivals right now. Just work on that summer pass or whatever. So, glad to be back.
Yeah, that's how I felt moving across the country. Every night I'd get to the hotel and I was like, man, I wish I could just hook my PlayStation up and play a little bit, but
Hmm.
it just gets its hooks in you. Yeah, I want to play some more ranked. I think my next Lord is going to be Cloak and Dagger. So
Oh my
I
goodness.
just banged my elbow. But yeah, so just gonna keep working towards that. And other than that, just working on my battle pass. I mean, I've finished everything else in the game, so we'll see. But that's going to do it for us today, everybody. We appreciate everybody listening. Wherever you're listening, make sure you like us, subscribe, leave us a comment. And if you're listening on Spotify, take a couple seconds, go over to our podcast page, leave us a 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate that. And until next week, everybody, good luck in your games, and we love you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.